Hello and welcome, everybody. We're here playing Checkpoint Midnight, Spies in the City of Dreams, and this is session 2 of 4. Uh, I'll be your MC today, Alexi, and we are playing through the Gauntlet gaming community. So that's something you can find out all about at gauntlet-rpg.com. This week's an exciting week because the Gauntlet is offering Gauntlet Community Open Gaming at the end of the week, and that's something that anyone can join in for free and play some cool games with us. So definitely check that out if it sounds interesting to you. The game we are playing is Checkpoint Midnight. It's a game of supernatural spies in Cold War Vienna. You can find out more about the game at bit.ly/checkpointmidnightlist. That's a capital C, a capital M, a capital L in that bit.ly link. And I'll include that link below the video to make things easy as well. Let's introduce our players who've gathered here today. I'll start us off. My name is Alexi, he, him, and you can follow my gaming endeavors online at Cloven Pine Games. So check out Cloven Pine Games on Twitter and check out some of my games on itch.io. Folks, if you don't mind sharing your name, your pronouns if you wish, and your online handle if you so desire, we'll go ahead and have you introduce yourselves, starting with Puckett.
Hi, I'm Puckett, he, him pronouns. Happy to be here.
Good to have you here. All right, Sabine, you're next.
Hi, I'm Sabine. I use any pronouns. I'm on Twitter. My handle is SabineV5. I think at least it is. Yeah, I don't have a home page or anything really cool, but I'm on Twitter. So.
And we've got a third player in this series, Josh, but we'll let him introduce himself if he's able to join us. He's having some technical difficulties, but we're very happy to have him if he's able to jump in mid-session here. All right, let's learn about our characters. So just for the sake of our fellow players and for anybody watching, give a capsule summary of your character, and mention what what situation we last saw them in as we wrapped up the first session. So same order. Puckett, tell us about your unburied character.
Jack Hardesty is he's still patriotic, but to his own definition of patriotism in a way. And at the end of the last session, we had successfully stolen the black cigar, and I had talked a fellow soldier out of being the bodyguard for a wet behind the ears little shit weasel who needed to have his ass beaten and instead just got run out of Vienna, hopefully for good if he knows what's good for his health. And then we just kind of sauntered off into the night, having our pictures taken by vampires, wasn't it?
I don't know that it was clear. I think you had gotten the sense that this person, Jonas Wimmer, had cheated death somehow, had meddled in the occult, and he was indeed the one who used a little camera watch to take a picture of your ally Viola as she stole away with the cigar.
Yeah, but basically, Frankencap Steve Rogers is a good way to describe Jack Hardesty.
Yeah, you kind of died, and then you got put back together, and you're very upset about it. To be honest, you're trying to shut down the program and make sure it doesn't happen to anybody else,
and make sure that I destroy all the knowledge about how to do it along with it. And the good thing is, it's the 50s, so this actually is possible. There's not a whole lot of backups that can be done.
All right. Sabine, tell us about your character. You're playing the Wayward.
Yeah, I'm playing Ophidar Salma. Ophidar Salma is a gorgon. He is the child of the Queen Echidna, queen and mother of monsters. So he has lots of siblings and cousins and stuff like that. But there are lots of rules in the netherworld that you have to follow, and some of them are really arcane, and most of them are absolutely boring. And there's not a lot of good music there. I mean, it's mostly harps and lyres and stuff like from Orpheus is still a big guy down there, and he's getting a bit long in the tooth. Anyway, since I got the chance to come to Vienna in the 50s, where there are jazz clubs and stuff like that, I am very happy to be here. Of course, officially, I have to procure statues and stones and stuff for my mother. Unofficially, I'm just trying to have as much of a good life as possible, listening to music, going to clubs, meeting interesting people, which I kind of have. I met Jack Hardesty and Victoria. Was it Victoria? It wasn't Victoria. Viola Conroy. They're interesting. That's for sure. I'm not really sure about anything else, but they're interesting. Last time I got a guy hooked up on some netherworld smoking cigars. So that seems okay.
Yeah, you hit it off with cigar sommelier Florian Shifter, and
Yeah, I did. He was
what he
nice.
needed was those netherworld cigars.
He didn't know that he needed them, but he does.
Very nice. And yeah, and the other kind of thing you're collecting for your amusement is stories, right? That's something Ophidar is interested in. Kind of
Yeah, stories and music and stuff like that. Mostly stories that are nothing to do with the netherworld at all, or Orpheus, or harps, or lyres, or stuff like that. And he can turn people into stone.
But mostly, it seems like he tries not to by avoiding prolonged eye contact. Is that right?
Yeah, he doesn't want to. Mostly, he doesn't want to turn people into stone. It kind of sometimes might happen by accident. He doesn't feel he has full control over it. And well, maybe some people are better as statues than as people. But who am I to judge?
Yes, indeed. Let's get into this then. After your last kind of mission, we saw each of you head off from that swanky party that you'd successfully infiltrated and stolen a black cigar from, and maybe threatened the host with violence and intimidation. Let's say, for the sake of sake of argument here, that you'd arrange to the following day meet up with your patron who'd hired you to get this cigar. So tell me, in the meantime, where do each of you go? Like after a successful mission, do you kind of return to your living quarters, or what happens that night for let's start with Jack. Where do you go next?
I don't really sleep anymore.
Hmm.
And I have taken to just kind of wandering the streets of whatever town I happen to be in. I mean, it's a weird thing about being brought back from the dead. You don't really need sleep anymore. So I just kind of wander around the streets and see what there is to see. Every once in a while, I run into somebody who has ill intentions, and I am able to dissuade them from whatever course of action they were planning.
I see. So walking the streets, occasionally giving a mugger the sort of stern warning they're not going to forget. Am I getting the right idea here?
If they're lucky, it's just a warning. There's usually some bruises and maybe a broken bone or two involved. I do like to. Enough people suffered during the war. They shouldn't have to suffer more now. And I may not be able to stop all of it, but I can stop some of it.
All right. Ophidar, what does it look like for you when you leave this party, after a job well done?
I seem to remember that I took some of the cigars with me.
Yeah, not the very fancy
not
cigar.
the very fancy one, but the rest of them. So seems to me that might be that might help to get me into one of the more eclectic jazz clubs, where you don't just walk in and everybody is happy, but something that's a bit more hidden, a bit more clandestine.
Okay. Yeah. So like there's a club where you have to hand over something something interesting, to grease the wheels and get your way in. And so you're passing around some of these cigars and you're ushered to a nice booth as the music's playing. Am I getting the right idea?
Yeah, that's about the right idea. Exactly. And I'm trying to find some people who might want to share a story or a glass of wine or both with me. I'm not actually trying to hook up with somebody because that might turn really weird, but I'm just trying to find some company and share stories, like chill out.
Yeah, just some interesting people who might have a tale to tell.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm picturing that we do see kind of a table at one of these clubs, and people are gathered around it, and there's certainly some smoke starting to fill the air, and kind of in between the smoke and the music, right? Ophidar is collecting his stories. Yeah, absolutely. You are golden. I'm looking back at the character keeper and seeing that you didn't even take any stress. So,
why would I? I'm a very easy person. Don't usually stress myself out.
I was checking whether your refresh move was triggering here, which is kind of how in downtime you let off steam, get rid of your stress or clear conditions, and perhaps in some ways it is. You can tell us a little about what it means to kind of consume what your mother Echidna hungers for, and if you're able to do that in the context of the story trading. But
I don't think so. I don't think I'm doing this for my mother right now. I'm doing this for myself. This is just for myself. I'm consuming the stuff that I want to consume, not the stuff that she needs me to bring to her. I know that this will refresh my powers and refresh my connection to the physical world, I guess, but or my connection to the netherworld and who I am. And if I don't do it, then probably I will turn to stone at some point. But right now, I feel like I'm good.
Fair.
Wait, I see that I have some release that says territorial, permanently mark a piece of the city as your own.
Indeed. And the way these release move works is kind of once per session, you can do them, mark them off, and in exchange, either clear a stress or take an XP. So do you have a way to trigger that move, Pierre? Is there some way you're going to mark this club as your territory?
I think I would like to do something like that, because this club is really what I'm about. So I really need to mark it as my own. So when I leave, I will put my hand on the entrance. There is a very fancy mahogany. Mahogany, is that the right word?
Yeah, like a dark wood.
Okay. Yeah, like a dark wood, exactly. And I put my hand to it, and then my fingers start gripping, and part of the mahogany turns a bit more. It gets a bit even more polished, and even looks like it's turned to stone a bit. And there is a certain pattern in it that, to those people in the know, will say, "This is Ophidar's. Piss off."
Oh man, that's great. Yeah, so like just a kind of a handprint in the wood that's been sort of petrified. So for someone looking closely, it's clear this place belongs to you. Yeah, go ahead and mark territorial, and then you'll get to mark XP for that. Jack, I'm going to check back in with you. So you don't sleep much, you don't dream much, but at some point while you're walking these streets, it's almost like a dream has found you, because you spot kind of at like the outdoor tables of a cafe where nobody should be at this point. There's just a strange light on, and a single figure sitting at one of those tables. It looks so much like that woman you have.
Lena?
No, It looks so much like that woman you have that black and white photo of in that locket. But what tells you, as you look, a second longer here, that this is death herself manifesting to you?
The way, there's two things actually. There is an uncanny silence around her. Like that's just, even in the middle of the night, cities have noise. There's hissing from vents in the street, and there's always some kind of noise. But the closer you get to her, the quieter it gets. And the only living things out and about at this time, for the most part, are animals, rats, maybe a couple of birds, an owl. And they actually they will give her a wide berth. You can actually see a rat running in a straight line, and then it'll stop and pause, set up and sniff, and then proceed to move in an arc around where she is.
Oh, fascinating. Yeah. So, yeah, there's this zone of silence. There's this area the kind of little city animals are clearly avoiding, and she looks up, towards you, looming in the darkness, and gives a sort of generous gesture towards the seat across from her at this little cafe table. What do you do?
I'm going to head over there. I mean, if I'm lucky, she'll kill me.
Yeah. Sharing screen for a second. I picked out a picture, and of course, yeah. As I said, it looks like that woman in your locket, but you saw those tells. You can tell that this is death making herself manifest here. And as you sit down, Jack, she says to you, Jack Hardesty, once again, you've turned to me for insight as you walk your lonely path.
Well, for better or worse, I know you'll always have insight because you know everyone.
Eventually.
And you know when you're going to meet them last.
Save for you, such a mystery and such a tragedy for us to be torn apart like we were.
Yeah. About that. What do I have to do to be able to die again? It's not enough for me to be able to stop the people who did this to me from doing it to anybody else. I want to rest.
She sighs. She says, I want that too, Jack. You have to believe me, but it's not so simple now. They've changed you. They've changed you, my darling, and for some reason, you elude me again and again, you little scamp. Yeah, she'll kind of, regard you closely. Probably like put a hand on the table, like she's waiting for you to take it.
Why not?
Here's my question. Are you letting your guard down here?
What's the point of having a guard up around death?
Indeed. So there's some options when you let your guard down, which is a move in this game.
Okay.
When you let your guard down in a moment of intimacy with someone, choose one. You reveal a secret, they gain leverage on you. You start to care too much. If they get hurt or betray you, treat it as you take serious harm. Or you harden your heart to resist being drawn in, mark XP, and fill your stress track. So yeah, tell me about this moment. You kind of death has expressed, her sorrow, right, and her confusion over the situation the two of you are in, and you've reached out and taken her hand. What do we see on Jack's face here? How do you react to this strange encounter?
I look about as sad as it's capable for a walking corpse to look.
Hmm.
And I think I'm going to reveal a secret.
Absolutely.
And the secret is that, and I think this counts as a secret because I don't think Death and I have talked about this before.
Mm-hmm.
But I point out that I only know the name of one of the people, and it was a low-level Skippy. And that he keeps baiting me and trying to convince me to do more and more. And I know it's benefiting him, and I know that it's allowing him to basically rise up in the ranks of whatever organization he's in. And he keeps telling me that he's going to give me the names of the scientists who did this so that I can stop them from doing it again. And yet, it always seems like there's just one more mission that I have to do before this guy ponies up another name.
Yeah, she nods sympathetically, and she says, "I know this is important to you, Jack, but I don't think you're getting closer to the escape that you seek by doing this."
It should matter to you too, because they are stealing from you.
And indeed, no one gets away with stealing from me. Not for long. She kind of like, tilts her head to the side, sets her hand on her cheek. She says, "But Jack, they aren't the biggest fish in the pond. There's bigger schemes afoot, and I'm going to need your help. Stay alert, and when I give you the word, I want you to be ready to send to me those who have cheated my embrace."
Happily.
She smiles. The light grows brighter for a moment, and then you're sitting alone at this cafe table.
Well, I light a cigarette.
Excellent. Honestly,
Take a drag.
Yeah, honestly, it's probable that the the kind of like the camera zooms in, and the smoke curling up from your fingers suddenly becomes smoke obscuring the whole screen, right? And we transition, Ophidar, to your dream. You do dream, right? Unlike this undead man.
Yeah, I do dream, of course. I think I turn partly to stone when I do, but I do dream.
You turn partly to stone, like a part of you becomes stone, or like just all of you gets a little bit stiffer and like.
I think no, it's part of me that becomes a stone. It's different, and it depends on the dream, really, which part. does. Maybe it's the head or the hands. It's like when you go to sleep and something, your arms, you wake up and your arm is all pins and needles and has no feeling in it. That's how that is.
I see. But as you awake, you kind of return to flesh gradually.
Yes. I have to move a bit little. I'm not a very fast waker, I think. I sleep like a stone.
Sleeping like a stone. All right. So yeah, so in you're living in an apartment above your kind of curio store. Did we establish that last time? Yeah.
No, I think I live. I know I said I lived with my cousin, but maybe I moved out now and live above my curio store. I like that better. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. You know, you're in contact with your cousin. She knows some of what's up, but you're trying to strike it out a little on your own with this.
Yeah, maybe I've moved here only recently, and you can still see that there are several boxes and some stuff you would expect by way of furniture isn't there yet because I haven't either decided or know that I need it or stuff like that.
Does that mean is there a bed in the apartment at all, or are you kind of, you know?
Oh, there's definitely a very beautiful bed. There's no mattress though. Only the frame.
So are you sleeping on the bare boards of this bed, or are you in a chair, or just like?
No, I'm on the bed. There is a sheet on the frame, and I'm sleeping there. I have no idea that you. I mean, I have some idea that you would have a mattress, but why really? I don't see the attraction. It's soft, and you feel like you're drowning in it. It's not beautiful at all.
I love this gorgon. It's like a college student, just like figuring things out. And, yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, he's pretty new to this world.
And in your dream, I think you're back for a moment in your mother's court.
Hell no.
Yeah. In your dream, you're standing in the throne room. What's distinctive about the throne of Echidna, mother of monsters, that sets it apart from any other, chair or place of honor within this hall? Because she stands above all of her offspring.
I think it looks ancient. Actually, it's not very well even worked. It's just some slabs of stone put together, but they were put together thousands of years ago, and you can just feel the weight of that age. And it doesn't need any decoration because Echidna is on it, and you wouldn't even look at a chair when she was present anyway.
Right. But for some reason in your dream, Echidna's not on it. It's an empty throne that you're seeing.
Oh, wow. Weird. Okay.
There's there's just tendrils of smoke all around the room that seem to be kind of weaving and whispering, and that the empty throne is almost kind of calling you towards it. What do you do, Ophidar?
I walk towards what calls to me, obviously.
All right.
I mean, why wouldn't I? It's a dream. I can't be held responsible for what I do in a dream, right?
Oh no, certainly not. Certainly not. Yeah, you walk towards the empty throne, and as you get, the call is almost audible. It's saying Ophidar, Ophidar, and the smoke around you is starting to start wrapping around your limbs, it's just pulling you into the throne itself. Do you follow?
Of course.
And sit on your mother's throne?
Of course. I mean, it's a dream, right? The dream wants me to do that.
It clearly does. Yeah. So when you take the seat, what is most unsettling to you about this moment?
When I sit on that throne, I start to turn into stone, into the same kind of old brownish stone that the throne is made of, and part of me likes it and part of me doesn't.
Yep. That makes sense to me. Does the part of you that doesn't like it try to wake up at that point? Are you trying to pull yourself free?
Not Now there's still that part of me that likes it, right? And Ophidar isn't the kind of person who denies himself pleasure. So he tries to go with it. It's just a dream, right? Let's see where it goes. Can't hurt, probably.
It might hurt to be quite honest.
Oh, okay. He doesn't know it yet.
Yeah. Let's say as you feel kind of your limbs sort of changing, right, from animate flesh to kind of that ancient stone to match with this throne, and you feel yourself kind of like sitting up and up, right, almost like the throne is kind of changing you to match it, right, changing your scale and making you become the type of monster that can fill this place. I'm going to ask you to roll the move Take Serious Harm.
Nice.
Sometimes dreams can hurt you.
Oh, I didn't know that. I've got a 9, so hello. It's not great, but it could be worse, I guess.
That's true. When you on a 7 through 9, you take your licks. Choose one from this list, from the Take Serious Harm list. Do you have that in front of you? There's a basic moves tab in the Character Keeper.
Oh, I will give ground, so the opposition, whatever that is, gets a juicy opportunity.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, I might just try to flee from the throne here and now, because I'm pretty much scared, because I realize that this is not just a dream, this is something deeper, and I really have to get out of here before somebody comes and sees this, or before the dragon comes and eats me or whatever. I have to get out here. Fear.
Nice. So yeah, you kind of you startle, right? You kind of shake yourself and try to pull yourself away from the throne, but your limbs are heavy and holding you back, and kind of as the throne kind of shakes and creaks from you, like pulling yourself away from it. You see like cracks just spreading everywhere, and some of these cracks start to fall, right? And suddenly there's a whole like wall smashed open in this dream of the throne room, and kind of staring in, seemingly looking into your dream. You see like a whole like group of shadowy figures. They're kind of gathered around a table covered in candles and parchment, and kind of standing among them is clearly distinguishable that dour composer from the party, Jonas Wimmer, and he's like looking right into your dream and says, "Interesting. A child of Echidna here in Vienna." And I think around that point you wake up.
I try to say Guten Abend, but I probably don't get the opportunity. I'm not
perhaps as you're waking up, you're saying that, and you're saying it kind of like to your empty room as your eyes start to come open, and you start to shake off that stony slumber.
Yeah. Try to get my heart to work again and stuff like that. So, wow, I need another drink. Or 2, or 5, and I need to call Jack. Or Viola, but I guess Jack is better for that sort of thing.
Oh, interesting. How do you get in touch with Jack? Is there a phone line that you're usually able to reach him on?
I just remember that it's the 50s, and I can't just call him on a cell phone, right?
No, can't call him on a cell phone.
Damn. Okay. So Jack, how would I go about reaching you if I wanted to talk to you?
You would either call the front desk at the building where I live, or you would hit the streets looking for me, because at this time of night, I'm usually walking around. And it's not that I necessarily followed the same path, but I'm usually in the same general areas. And it's not hard to find me, because there's usually nobody up at this hour.
I think I'll go and get. I mean, getting to move is a good idea anyway. So I get out, get some sort of taxi cab, and then go down to the place where I know that Jack feels drawn to, and then I will just go and look for him.
Yeah, I think we can absolutely say that, after a little searching around, as perhaps as the sun starts to rise in the morning, you see kind of, silhouetted in the gray of the city, this, imposing figure of Jack, and you hear the like tiny clank noise of that one metal leg of his as he's moving around. How's that sound?
Forgive my geographic ignorance, but Vienna does have a river that runs through it, right?
Yeah,
Danube, isn't it?
The Danube, absolutely.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I think you find me leaning against, like looking over the Danube, leaning up against a wall where, I can look out over the river, look across the river, and I'm probably smoking under a streetlight for maximum moodiness.
That you're not on a rooftop, so you still have potential for maximum broodiness. But yeah, okay, I get it. I'll just I think you can see that Ophidar is a bit rumbled because usually he's pretty impeccable about his clothing. This time he's just thrown on the stuff from yesterday, and his shirt is kind of partway open, and the jacket doesn't really match the pants, so he's pretty much in a state.
You seem rattled.
I'm rattled. You have one of these?
Sure. Flip open the pack and offer you one.
Yeah, I'll take one. I forgot my own, of course. Again. I seem to do that a lot.
These things are good for your health. They help with sinus infections. You don't get bronchitis or anything like that when you're smoking. Doctors actually recommend these.
You realize that I don't get that anyway, right?
Well, neither do I, but
it's funny. You two may be the two people in Vienna, for whom the alleged health benefits of smoking are like relatively accurate, or at least you aren't going to take much damage from them.
Mm. I mean, tar in my lungs. Who cares?
Yeah, they turn to stone slowly anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So, this person. When we left, there was this guy taking a picture of us.
Yeah, the weird guy from the party.
Yeah. I had a very strange dream, and he kind of, I had this dream, and then he kind of ripped a hole into it and watched me and said sort of hello. And then I woke up. I don't know. He knew what I was.
Huh.
Exactly.
That's unusual.
Yeah, and I kind of felt that I needed to talk to somebody about it, and I thought you might be the right person for that.
Yeah. Well, I kind of vaguely remember what dreaming was like, but
yeah, but you know what enemies are like.
Yeah, I definitely know what enemies are like, and I definitely know what creepy enemies are like.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what I want, but I really want them.
So you're sure?
I really want to know what he's doing in my dream. He hasn't got no business getting into my dream. That's what I want. I want to tell him off. I guess I think he's got a cult or something.
And you're sure he kind of broke into your dream?
Yeah, I'm sure.
It wasn't just you dreaming that he was there and saying things.
No, not like that wasn't it. I mean, I'm pretty new to dreaming, but that felt different. Usually dreams are just kind of jumble, right? But this wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
This was like one of these cinematography things, like the cinema, like a flick in the cinema. That was like that. And dreams are usually more like you take 15 different flicks and edit them together into something that might mean something deeper, but probably doesn't. But this was pretty clear. And he knew my name, and he said, Ophidar, child of Echidna. So I'm worried. Because that's not a name that gets bandied about a lot around these streets.
Do we know what he is? Like if he's part of the weirdness around here or the uncanny stuff?
You had asked at the party something about, are there any threats I haven't noticed? And I said that you're kind of, with your connection to death, you had the sense that Jonas Wimmer was a meddler in the occult, and who's tried to cheat death in some way.
And Mark was trying to impress him, and
yes, yeah. You also got the sense that Mark was specifically trying to impress this dour-looking man.
Yeah. That was more of an in-character question.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't seen him around, but my store's pretty new, and he wasn't there yet. I don't have that many customers. Never seen him. Viola seem to know about him, but I don't know where she is right now and how to get in touch with her.
Right. Well, maybe one thing we can start with is there's got to be a couple of people like us around here who have dealt with this guy in some way, shape, or form.
I could ask my cousin. Just thought I'd talk to you first because, I don't know, I trust you more than my cousin for some reason.
Yeah, family's tough.
Yeah, also, I know where people usually know where they stand with you, right? You haven't ripped out my throat yet, so I think we're not enemies.
No. You haven't done anything that I'm aware of to give me any reason to do anything like that. And I mean, honestly, it's kind of nice to have somebody around who understands this sort of thing.
As much as I can, I guess.
I mean, it's not like I could, like take somebody on a stroll and just start kind of telling them about my life and how I'm stitched together. And, oh yeah, that's where they sewed this arm on. And that's where they sewed my other arm on. And, oh yeah, by the way, I've got lungs and I don't know who or what they came from. Could be pig lungs for all I know. I mean, they doubt they were too particular at that point.
Seemed to work pretty well, though.
I'm just saying that's not really first date conversation, And where are you from? Tell me about your parents. I don't know. I don't know. Well, tell me about yourself. Tell me what you're doing. Have no heartbeat and no pulse.
Is this another let your guard down in a moment of intimacy?
You know what? I think it is.
Because it sounds like you may be revealing more secrets, such that Ophidar will get more leverage. But tell me if there's another option you're choosing here.
Where would I find these moves that we're talking about right now? Because
in the basic moves in the Google Drive folder.
Oh, it's the basic moves. Damn it! Yeah.
Yeah, okay. It's under special moves for let your guard down.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to find them. Here they are. Okay. Didn't see them. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
I think I'm just going to give Ophidar leverage.
Okay. I'll just take it. And I think I want to go and return the favor because
this is a real heart to heart we're having.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I mean, it's gone over the Danube. How could it not be?
Yeah. So I will tell you that. Yeah, you know what? Speaking of first dates, I tend to not tell them the truth because how can I? Where are you from? The netherworld. So do you have any special skills I can turn people to stone? I did that tell that somebody once, and then she told me that I should go ahead and do that, and I did, and then she ran off screaming. So I
Yeah.
won't do that again in a hurry.
Civilians, right?
Well, they're just, I guess, humans. I mean, I'm not. I've never been really human. I would like at some point to know what that's like. But
I mean,
for most of my life, I've been a statue.
I mean, let me ask you this. Could you even go to dinner with somebody and look across the table at them without turning them to stone? Could you like actually hold their gaze for any length of time without like having something bad like that happen?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, looking at things if I concentrate very hard, I can keep it together. But if I look at something and let down my guard, they're not. And I look away. I don't look at Jack when I'm telling him this.
Yeah, of course not. Got to be careful. Yeah, absolutely. So both of you mark that you have, additional leverage on each other. But yeah, that was such a nice conversation. It sounds to me like we're getting ready to check out Checkpoint Midnight itself. So the titular Checkpoint Midnight is a location in the city that is a kind of common ground for the supernatural people, right? A place where the folks who move in the shadows of the city can gather and
so cool.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So there's kind of a thing we do to build this location together. May as well share the screen for a moment, because over in the Checkpoint Moves tab of Character Keeper, there's some options about Checkpoint Midnight. It used to be that I was like, oh, they can decide whether it's a cafe or a library or something else, but everyone wanted it to be a cafe. So Checkpoint Midnight, is a cafe, and then the questions are, what other resources does it have, right? Is it a place where there's, a well-stocked library of arcane texts? Is it a place where it's, it's got the facilities so you can train, and enhance your skills? Is it a place that's got a little medical wing for patching you up in the back? And we can decide that together. So, which of the resources that the checkpoint could have, these three options here: library, training grounds, and emergency room, which appeals to us? Each has a sort of special move associated with it, and kind of we hypothetically, particularly in a longer campaign, could end up running missions to expand what the checkpoint can do. But for now, we'll be picking one of these, and that becomes a move that's available in addition to the meet a contact at the cafe checkpoint move. What do we think? Either of you have something jump out at you? Library, training grounds, emergency room.
Library looks good to me. What do you think, Sabine?
Me too. It would have been my first pick as well. Because I mean, come on, cafe with a library, that just seems so old world, right?
Doesn't it? Like, and maybe there's like kind of like a reading, like a lending library in the cafe proper, but then there's this special section behind a hidden wall or something where the new stuff is.
Imagine there's lots of newspapers and magazines that you can just go in and read with your coffee and your cake or whatever you have.
All sorts of languages from all over the world, or at least all over Europe.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And at least some from beyond, right? Because this is a crossroads for more than just Europe. Absolutely.
Like an Algerian newspaper or something like that.
Ooh, yeah.
Maybe like a paper from the U.S. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there were like papers from Turkey and the Soviet, from Russia. Actually, it was the Soviet Union by that point.
Oh yes, it's the Soviets.
But it's like, unless you know the character set and can read the language, it looks alien.
And maybe there's one paper nobody knows where it comes from, because there are obviously some kind of letters, might be Thai or something, but you don't know. It's weird, it's strange, but it's always there, and it's always a new one every day. and nobody ever reads it.
I'd like to add to that if I can. It's a newspaper about the occult.
But
And-
requires some particular knowledge to decipher it to begin with.
Yeah, like it's. I don't know if it's written in code or if it's, for lack of a better term, enchanted in some way, shape, or form. But there's some kind of weirdness about it that unless you've been touched by the strange, it looks completely nondescript. Like people look at it, and it's like the international commodities future times or something like that, and it just looks like it's got articles about corn futures and like pork belly futures and whatnot.
But then if you've got the right eyes, you see like the kind of the characters shift and shimmer, and it's suddenly something different and mysterious. Yeah, does that work for you, Ophidar?
Yeah, totally, absolutely. Always wanted to know about the corn futures. I don't think Ophidar has any idea what that is. Neither do
I. Let's decide something about the proprietor of Checkpoint Midnight. Who the face, friendly or otherwise, that's always there, and does kind of keeps the peace to some extent in this unique establishment. Yeah, Ophidar, tell me one thing about this proprietor as we build out the checkpoint.
I think she's original Viennese. She's from Vienna, and she's been born there and has family roots going back to whenever the city was founded. Yeah, and maybe she makes some of the cakes herself.
Ah, nice.
Because if this is a truly Viennese coffee house, there have to be fantastical cakes.
Oh yes, very important to the setting here. Yeah, Jack, what's one rumor or kind of unsettling detail about the proprietor or their reputation? Her reputation, yeah.
She's actually much older than she looks, and by much older, I mean not human life. Not human lifetimes.
So it's the sort of thing where yeah, she's from an old Viennese family, but like how much of this family is just her in different guises through the years in the city. Yeah, so she's deeply connected to Vienna and has been running this cafe for quite a while.
Yeah. It's one of those things that, again, if you're touched by the strange, you are aware of this. But I mean, she looks like a woman probably in her late 40s, early 50s. She's got a streak of gray hair. So, I mean, you can see that she's a little older, very striking features. But rumors in the underground are that she may well be on her third or fourth human lifetime.
And I'm just pulling up a Viennese name generator here. How do people like the name Chiara Morgenstern for this lady? Does that work, or do folks have other suggestions?
Is Chiara actually?
No, it's not. It's an Italian name. Chiara is an Italian name.
I mean, Morgenstern is.
Yeah,
that works.
That sounds Jewish, but that's fine. That could be in Vienna, but I think maybe I don't know, Erna maybe, or Gertrude, something that's a bit older.
Gertrude has a nice old feel.
Yeah.
I bet she gets real mad when people call her Auntie Gert.
Yeah, because there has to be propriety. This is Vienna. This isn't the US where you can go and call some people you should respect. You call her, please, you call her Frau Morgenstern. Unless she invites you to call her Gertie or something like that.
speaking of propriety, there's got to be some rules to this checkpoint. Yeah, we're choosing 2 rules. So each of you, please choose 1 rule from this list. These kind of the rules that are in place, and part of the deal is that when you're doing the particular checkpoint moves, you roll higher if you're following all the rules. Pick a rule that's interesting. Pick one that you'll want to follow at least some of the time, and it'll be interesting when you do and don't. Yeah, Ophidar, you first. What rule do you think is in place here at the checkpoint?
Ooh, rule. Okay.
And scroll down. There's some options on the
oh, okay.
sheet. Yeah.
That I'll look at. Okay. Oh, yeah. I think. I think I like the idea that there should be no overt display of otherness, I guess. No, nothing that like I shouldn't let my hair loose and some snaky coils running around my head or something. At least not in the front room where you take coffee and cake. Keep it under wraps as much as you can.
Got it. So the safety comes from being stealthy, from letting this place blend in, even though folks in the know understand that it's different from the other cafe.
Maybe there's a back room where you can let down your hair, so to speak, but not in the front room. That's not done. That's not proper. Just if you can help having green hair, fine, but maybe keep a hat on it.
So, shall we check the rule no using supernatural powers on another person in the checkpoint as kind of a part of this?
Yeah, that's part of it. Also, of course, if you have hair that can strangle people, don't do that. I mean, I imagine that violence against other patrons would be frowned upon anyway.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if that's one of the explicit rules or just a sort of general expectation. What other rule do you want to pick out here, Jack, as something in force here at the checkpoint?
I was looking at no supernatural powers and no violence or plotting thereof on the premises.
Nice. So that's what keeps it peaceful. Is that while you're here, you're not supposed to be getting into fights or even plotting out your more violent plans, and you're supposed to kind of keep a lid on the supernatural powers, right? It's a tacit understanding that yes, there's folks here who can do stuff, but we're not putting on a show, perhaps in the back room, but not.
When bodies start piling up, it's awful hard to keep a place discreet and under the radar.
That makes sense to me. Cool. Well, let's take our bio break, and then when we pick up, have us go to the checkpoint. How about? Because it sounds like you're interested in asking around, seeing if anyone knows something about these mysteries. You also at a certain point are supposed to meet back up with Viola, and hand the cigar to your contact, and whether or not he's waiting for you at the checkpoint, you might be planning to reconvene with your ally at the checkpoint and head to do that. So yeah, let's take a nice 10-minute break here. Be back at 22 past the hour, and see you guys soon.
Okay, be right back.
All right. Looks like we're back. So we've made some decisions about what Checkpoint Midnight is in our version of Vienna, and we developed our proprietor, Gertrude Morgenstern. So let's head there, because it sounds like the operatives here, Jack and Ophidar, might have some questions to seek answers to at Checkpoint Midnight. Jack, what does it look like as you approach the checkpoint? Is there any sort of special thing you have to do as you enter, or is it that they the staff there recognizes who's a regular?
I definitely think the staff recognizes who's a regular, because this is a place that is filled with regulars, both regular regulars and irregular regulars, you might say. So they more to the point, they know who should be allowed into. Sabine, what do you think it is? Do you think it's like a kind of almost like a speakeasy basement type thing, or is it upstairs, or?
I think it's a back room. Maybe, they have a little garden in the backyard, and then there's this kind of oh, well, language leaves me here. There's this kind of little, it's not a hut, it's kind of winter garden thing with lots of glass.
Greenhouse?
Yeah, like a greenhouse with chairs in it and little tables, and you can kind of get into a niche and hide yourself from others by way of plants, I guess.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It's not huge, but going to the greenhouse, only the regulars get to go to the greenhouse.
Oh, that's great. So it's this is a very living cafe, since we've got greenery and verdant things all around. Once you've passed through the the kind of more normal indoor area into this back garden and greenhouse.
Yeah, and there's a piano somewhere hidden in the greenhouse, which if you can find it, you can play it. Somebody usually does.
That's awesome. Cool. Yeah. What's your favorite place or feature here, Jack, that you notice as you come in?
When I'm in that garden, I don't feel like I'm an oddity. So it's not even so much something there that does it. It's just the way that it makes me feel.
Absolutely.
Frau Morgenstern doesn't look at me like I'm a freak or treat me like one. She treats me like I'm at least. She recognizes that I used to be human and treats me that way.
Yeah, and of course, her clientele is diverse. So she's got to be able to be humane to people who are not human, currently or possibly ever. Ophidar, what's your favorite thing in the checkpoint?
My favorite thing in the checkpoint, that I think, well, it's part of it is the newspapers. I just love looking at them, and I think the front has a big glass windows, and where you can look outside and watch people go about their business, and I think I like that as well. Just look at life happening and read a newspaper. It's even better when it's raining and everybody's hurrying, and you can see how people react to the world around them, and by the way they try to protect themselves from the rain or don't.
I think it is beginning to drizzle this morning in Vienna. So as you enter, you can like cast a glance back and see like two people sharing an umbrella, or one person turning a newspaper into an impromptu umbrella, trying to keep dry, and one person just just walking briskly, seeming to enjoy the quick kind of sense of rain hitting their face. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Ophidar, Jack, you two come in. You see that Frau Morgenstern is moving about, checking in on customers, and she looks up at the two of you, and says, "Welcome. Good to see you both. What can I do for you today?"
I'd like a black coffee, please, with some kind of cake. Whatever you think is especially good this morning.
Oh, I know just what you need, Jack. And you, Ophidar?
I will have a coffee with cream, which isn't just cream poured into it. It's just the cream gets blown up onto it and forms a little spiral up there. And then I will, of course, have some cake as well. Yes, whatever Jack thinks is good.
So she smiles, kind of probably pats you on the shoulder, Ophidar, as she kind of heads off to make sure that you'll be taken care of. But you have a moment to survey the checkpoint. You see some of the regulars of both kinds, and the passage at the back, over to the greenhouse. What's your play here? You're hoping to poke around and ask some questions, it sounded like.
I mean, there's usually at least one or two
Sorry.
information brokers.
Certainly. So people whose whole perhaps not their whole livelihood, but whose part of their livelihood is about trading in information.
Yeah, favors for information, information for favors, cash for information, varieties of payment.
Yes. Now, since you're looking for information of a non-mundane sort, is it back in the greenhouse where you'd be seeking out a broker in this on this occasion?
Seems likely, yeah. Sorry.
No, that makes total sense. Yeah. Do you head to the greenhouse and find a like secluded table with some enough shrubs and bushes around you that you're hopefully less likely to be overheard?
Oh, I imagine that there is some way of showing that we're looking for information instead of going to somebody, up to somebody. But you take a certain newspaper with you and you put it on the table, and somebody who wants to do a trade might come up to you and sit down, and then we can do a little chit chat, and then we get to the point. But it's not like you're going up and say, "Hey, I hear you have information for me." And
no, everything's more refined than that. Yeah. So you grab one of the papers, that is the signal that you're interested in information. We'll say it's just one of the stranger papers here, right? Like it's an American paper, but it's not one of the major American papers. It's just for some reason a local paper from Vermont is here in this cafe in Vienna, and you might think, what's that about? But it's for signaling something specific, and so you leave, you have this folded on your little kind of metal table in the greenhouse area, and eventually you'll be you what that means.
You're roboting.
Both of you are at. Oh, I'm sorry. What was the last thing you heard?
A metal table, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. And am I coming through more clearly now?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yes. You've picked up the specific paper that signals you're interested in information, and you've left it folded on your metal table out in the greenhouse area. Does that sound right?
Mm-hmm.
Ophidar and Jack, you're both there.
I guess we're both there. Yeah.
Which of you will take the lead on chatting up this information broker then? Who's going to be leading the conversation and making a roll for this?
I imagine I would be leading the conversation because I don't think Jack is the conversation guy.
No, I was going to say the same thing because I think Ophidar is much more refined than I am, and much more able to talk to, for example, information brokers who might have certain expectations of propriety that don't involve me lifting them up by their throat.
We can escalate to that later.
Well, there's no violence on the scene here, so all I can do is stare at them menacingly and basically say, "You'd better not leave here."
You're very good at you are very good at staring menacingly, I imagine. Good. So I will chat with this fellow and occasionally let him see that Jack is staring menacingly at him, because can't hurt to let him know that we're serious here.
Well, I mean, I don't, maybe you kick me under the table when it's time to stare menacingly. I don't want to intimidate the person.
I imagine we have some sort of signal where you start staring menacingly at people, but maybe just go with the flow of the conversation. Sure. There might be a lull when it's appropriate to stare. I imagine you can recognize these points. So what do I roll now with what?
Yeah, so there is a checkpoint move for this, which is that one up at the top. Meet a contact. When you meet a contact at the cafe, roll with questions and take +1 for each yes. And to be clear, the questions are also here on the sheet. The questions are you following the checkpoint's rules? Do you have leverage over the checkpoint's proprietor?
I imagine we're following the rules right now because we're not doing violence and we're not.
You're not doing violence. You're not using your powers. You're just meeting for
just talking, but we don't have leverage over Frau Morgenstern. So
no, she's she doesn't give out leverage to just anyone. You'd have to do something to try to achieve that.
Well, might be interesting to try that, but that means that we roll with +1, right?
Yes, roll with +1.
Cool.
What did you get, Ophidar?
Don't know it. I've got an 8-9. Seems to be my number for the day.
Great. On a hit, they have good intel or helpful resources for you. On a 7 through 9, it's dicey, keeping your conversation safe from prying ears. Mark a stress. Okay, so I have some of the sense of this. If it's all right, I'll recycle a name we didn't use for the proprietor and say our info broker is an Italian gentleman named Lucio Chiaro. All right with that? All sorts mingle in this city. So Lucio sees the newspaper you've put down. Sits across from you and gives you a pleasant greeting, and then leans forward a little and says, "So what can I help you with?"
I am just trying to find out a bit the lay of the land to see if we're stepping, or I might be stepping on anybody's toes, and if so, how hard should I expect them to step back, things like that. And yesterday I got acquainted with a person whose name is Jonas Wimmer, and I want to know how he reacts to that name right now. I'll leave it hanging just so I can see his reaction.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're just dropping the name Jonas Wimmer. Yeah, yeah. Lucio kind of does like a little like intake of breath on Jonas Wimmer, and then he says, "That's a name we're hearing a lot of these days. You're not the only person interested. I don't mind telling you." Um, uh, and Jack, just for the part of the flavor of this, right, is it's stressful keeping the conversation private. What if you're oh, I guess. Yeah, I was gonna. Let me suggest something. Then you tell me if it's appropriate at all. I wondered if Gordon Mackenzie occasionally hangs out around here, because you do need to meet him sometimes, and he might feel most comfortable meeting you in a place where violence is definitely against the rules. Do you ever see his hide at the checkpoint, or is that not how that relationship works?
Well, if I do see him here, he certainly wouldn't make it into this area.
Oh, that's a fair point. Yeah.
I mean, he's fully human. He's not touched by the strange, and just because he happens to be involved with some government thing that turns corpses into monsters doesn't mean that he gets these privileges. I also get the feeling that if he shows up here, Frau Morgenstern doesn't really care for him because she knows. I mean, she seems like somebody who's very plugged into things, and I don't think she'd be too thrilled with that. So I don't think he's necessarily persona non grata, but there's a definite tension if he shows up in the front part of the cafe.
Yeah. Then here's what might make sense. Maybe a waiter comes with your coffees and 2 slices of Black Forest cake. Sets them down for you and says, Frau Morgenstern thinks this cake will be to your liking, and then mentions to you, Jack, and there's a friend of yours waiting in the front part of the cafe. Frau Morgenstern seemed a touch uneasy. Just be aware. You have a visitor back at the front.
Has he asked for me?
The waiter nods solemnly.
I'm reasonably sure he can wait. And I will continue backing up Ophidar.
Nice.
To whatever extent I can.
I think the waiter's like hovering for a moment, seeing if you have anything more to say, and like you see that behind the waiter, other staff are also kind of gathering slightly, like the people. There's people here who know that their juicy things can be gathered by eavesdropping. So we'll say, as you kind of send the waiter away, you like give a hard look in their direction, and they start scurrying about a bit, and you have a bit more privacy. But just to give us that moment of keeping the conversation safe from prying ears, so that there's justification for a little one, just the one tick, very very little, just the one tick on the stress track.
Is that for both of us? For me? For Ophidar?
Technically just Ophidar, because Ophidar is the one who rolled the move.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm just a little. It's like suddenly there's this waiter, and we're in the middle of a conversation, and that kind of throws me a bit, because I don't know if this is connected to what I just told this Lucio fellow. So I'm like, okay, well, I say the name, and suddenly somebody appears, and there's other stuff going on, and I don't know if it's connected, and that stresses me out.
Indeed, yeah. So Lucio's heard you drop that name. He starts this preamble about how other people have been mentioning that. He says, look, you didn't hear this from me, but Herr Wimmer seems to be hand in glove with a little group called the Dreamstealers. They were
Yeah.
active in before the war. We thought maybe they learned not to show their heads, but the rumor is they're making moves again, and the rhetoric. Well, it's to someone like me, a citizen of the world enjoying Vienna. Well, the rhetoric is very harsh. They are very upset, about, and he gestures in the direction of like the city as a whole, right? Very upset about the partition, and people from the West and from and our Soviet brothers coming to this city, and it seems they're working to make Vienna match more what they want the city to look like.
Oh. Well, that is interesting. And do you know by what means they mean to accomplish this feat, to make the city look more like whatever the preference would be, maybe less worldly, less open to other people of other nationalities?
He kind of looks around once more, says, we know that there are weapons beyond what the great powers believe in, ways of attack that are not land, sea, or air. The Dreamstealers seem to want to attack the dreams of those in the city that they prefer to see the back of. They said they were seeking a haunted object that could give them more sway over the realm of dreams. That's all I know. That's what I got for you.
These are some parts of the puzzle we did not have before. So thank you for that. Is there anything we can do for you in return? Anything we can offer?
Yeah, he leans back in the chair. He says, "Well, thank you. That's extremely kind of you. Your cousin makes those curious miniatures, correct?"
Yes, she does.
I've been hoping to acquire one for my own collection, but she worked with such an exclusive clientele. If you could put in a good word, I would be very grateful.
I absolutely will speak to her about you and about her miniatures. I'm very sure that you will soon be in possession of one, or at least I can arrange for her to speak to you about the creation of something you would really like.
He nods. He's satisfied. He kind of looks over to you, Jack, who's been like pretty silent through this, and gives you a little nod, and then says, "Well, I must go." Does the like air kisses, and seems to be setting off on his way. Anything else either of you do?
I'm satisfied for now, but I will turn to Jack and say, well, interesting conversation. What do you think?
We just need to know where to find him.
Or what he's after.
It's bad enough that they won't let people die. Now they won't let people sleep.
I mean, I did sleep, but it wasn't very restful.
You should be free from incursions, intrusions. I'm not sure which angers me more. What they did to me, or what they're doing to who knows how many people with this.
I have to be honest here. This is a more personal thing for me. I feel threatened by these people. Sorry, my tongue is still asleep, I guess.
Yes.
I will drink more coffee now. And, well, yeah, I would like to throw a spanner into their works. A hard one, one that might really, really have them think again about going into people's dreams ever.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
if I may make a suggestion,
sure.
Perhaps you gaze upon one of them and then they throw, well, their statue into the works.
Yes, I think. Oh,
That might make quite a statement, don't you think?
Yes, that's a good way to bring across a point, really. But we are putting the cart before the horse, I think is the way the saying goes. Yes, maybe.
If you're talking about that Americanism, yes.
I have no idea if that's an Americanism. This is not my native tongue. My native tongue has a lot more sibilance. Okay. I think there is no way to gaze into the abyss here. That's fine. I was just checking. I'm playing a lot of games, and some there is a mechanic where you can just go mystic and then have some flash of insight. But this isn't one of these, so we have to do more digging, which is fine.
You've got the library at the checkpoint for one option.
I like the library. Yes.
And
yes.
Let me just see.
I think we should check out the library here. Or, I mean,
would Get Spooky be the equivalent or something close to?
No, I think Get Spooky is more like letting intimidate, reshape the environment, or become an obstacle. I don't know. More warps to your will.
Yeah,
you know what? I think that it might be the thing. I thought I was just for intimidating people. Sorry, I keep interrupting you. I stopped now.
No worries. I'm open to using Get Spooky, as a sort of, a bit like Gaze into the Abyss. The idea is that you'll somehow be tapping into your inhuman side, right? Kind of revealing some of that supernatural part of yourself, and the obstacle you overcome could be sort of an intellectual obstacle if the idea is you're getting spooky to to learn more about what's going on around you. That's not crazy.
Okay, I think the library move might be a better starting point though.
Okay.
Before getting very spooky here. Can we do this together, or?
Yeah, that's my question. Jack, are you going to head to the library with Ophidar, or are you going to check in on your stooge that's waiting in front of the cafe and apparently sending messages back via the waiters?
Ophidar, have you had enough coffee? I mean, they did bring out this lovely silver pot for us.
Yes, I mean, is there ever enough coffee? Is there such a state? I have had a sufficient amount of coffee to function.
Okay, a sufficient amount, but not enough. Never enough. And
I'm a creature of pleasure, Jack.
I'll take God and pour what remains of the coffee into Ophidar's cup.
Thank you.
let's enjoy. Let's finish our coffee and enjoy. Well, another moment or two of quiet before we start venturing into the library. Gordon can wait. I'll deal with him soon enough.
If you want to go out and deal with him now, we could. I mean, the library won't run away. Probably.
There's part of me that wants to make him wait, that thinks he deserves to wait, the same way that I'm waiting. But there's wisdom to what you say.
Do you want to do this alone? Should I come with you? Turn to stone, maybe? Probably not, right? That's.
I need him able to speak. That's what's kept him alive so far. I appreciate the offer. Just so that you have deniability, perhaps we should leave here separately. That way, if he has anybody watching the cafe when I leave or trying to tail anyone, they don't know we were together.
But if there was somebody looking out to find you, might it not be interesting to find out who that was, even if they go after me? I mean, they might think I'm more harmless than you are.
Ophidar, you're quite devious, and I like it.
Thank you. I will accept that as a compliment.
It was intended as such.
Mm-hmm.
Very well. I will head out to the main part of the cafe while you look in the library, and I'll keep him occupied until you can join us.
Very good. And then we can leave together and see what sticks.
Exactly. Who knows? Maybe Vienna gains another statue today.
I think I might be able to turn only part of people to statues, so they might still be able to talk. But I can't guarantee it. It's not that precise.
Sounds like a plan. So Ophidar, you're heading to the library.
Yes.
You're kind of stepping into the more regular section of the cafe.
Yes, I will.
Yep.
Yeah. Jack, let's follow you first here for a moment. You make your way back from the lushness of this garden, this greenhouse into the interior of the checkpoint. Well appointed cafe where regulars of all sorts are reading their newspapers and having cake, sipping from coffee mugs, and kind of over near the entrance, like seated at a table but with nothing in front of him, just kind of like looking jittery, looking weaselly. It's Gordon Mackenzie, of course. I dropped a picture into the character keeper, but if you've got a different image of this character, feel free to share. But as I have here, someone who is himself sort of pale, not as pale as an undead person, but looking a little sickly from spending lots of time in underground laboratories or wherever they work on these projects, and kind of spots you as you start approaching, right? And like nearly like stands up, and then sits back down because you seem to be coming towards him. Is that right?
Yep. He
says, Jack, oh, thank goodness I found you here. I've got important news. It's very sensitive, very but you'll be happy about this. This is what we've been waiting for.
We
yeah, you keep asking, when do we take out, when do we take care of the big stuff? Well, I got a scoop for you. I got what you need. I know where you want to go.
Tell me.
He's he's clearing his throat, looking around, slides a like napkin towards you with an address on the outskirts of the city, as he says, it's one of the major laboratories. They're reviving it. You're not gonna get this chance again. You got the people you want gone. They're going to be there, and they're going to be there today. What do you do?
Let's see. Decipher.
Yeah. How's that? How are you doing that? Are you just eyeballing him using your natural senses, or are you kind of leaning onto your supernatural side in some way to try to understand, what's going on?
I'm going to go ahead and get weird because there's no stat bonus for me either way. I'll be rolling flat.
Mm-hmm.
So
doing it with Fable, you think? What's the what does that look like? Is there kind of or what does that feel like?
Well, having already done the roll, I can tell you that it feels like failure. He seems more sickly than normal. Like, I can see this. I can see the flop sweat on his forehead. He's more pale than normal. He's even looks like a little jaundiced almost. Like something's wrong here, and it's not just his complexion.
And this is kind of like your undead senses are tingling, as it were.
Yeah. So the problem is I don't know what's wrong here.
On a miss for Decipher, still ask one, but you're in the MC's hands. Prepare for the worst.
Yeah, and then I'd also like to pierce the veil on him once I've asked this question.
Legit. So yeah, you get to ask one of these Decipher questions.
What danger am I overlooking?
Yeah. Yeah, he's pushed that address towards you, right? He's like, a couple times in, this kind of nervous patter he's putting up here. He's emphasized that, it's today, right? That today is your opportunity. The sense you get is that he does not think you're going to come out of here, right? That his big hope is, you go into this place and never come out, and solve at least one problem for him that way. You don't know, you can't tell, right? What exactly he thinks you're going to encounter there, and whether he thinks you will meet with the people you want to destroy. But he seems to be like pushing this in the hopes that this takes you off the board as well, and frees him from you entirely.
So it's a setup.
Yeah, could be. You have those suspicions very strongly. And let's see. Yeah, I think here's part of it. You have that premonition. It's a setup, but he is dangling what you want here, right? Like he is kind of pointing towards what you've been trying to get from him and haven't weaseled out of him. Shall we say that between these two things, that's at least a stress.
Sure. Why not?
Yeah, just following that miss a little bit further. But yeah, you're trying to gain a little more insight by giving death leverage over you.
Yeah.
What does that look like? How does it feel, and how do you know that that death is holding more of the cards as you seek out her insight into this?
Oh, I can smell it on him. What is slowly killing him? Because something is killing his body or soul. He does not look well.
Yeah.
So what is it? And then I forget, how do we generate XP? How do we get XP?
You do get XP on a miss, so you should mark one for that miss.
Okay.
And
is it only on misses?
Your release moves can be used to mark XP.
Okay.
They kind of,
that's right.
It's either clearing a stress or marking XP, and each of them you can kind of trigger once a session to do that. Plus, when you complete a mission, there's an XP. People can exert leverage and offer you an XP, and kind of when a fellow PC inspires you to action and you follow along, XP is an option.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
I take it you're hovering on the edge of an advancement.
Oh, I'm right there.
Nice.
I've got one to go. So what is killing his body or soul?
Killing him? Yeah. I think let's go for the simple answer. He's been poisoned. He has been poisoned with a little bit about netherworld poisons because you've received some from Ophidar to try to use in your line of work. So he has been dosed with a Stygian draft that is slowly eating away at him. You know that there are antidotes for this sort of thing, but they are difficult to find as well.
Okay. I want to trigger Die Hard.
Tell me about that. When you so that's a release move that triggers when you recruit others to pursue a lost cause.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do, Jack?
I lean back in the chair, cross my arms, and look at him. So, Gordon, how long do you have?
What you? I was saying, it's just today that they're here. You have to act quickly.
How long do you have?
Me? Do I?
You. I mean, I can literally sit here all day. All night, too. All day tomorrow. You can't say the same, can you?
Maybe not, but what concern is that of yours? You've always told me you're going to kill me at the end of this anyway.
Yeah. But I'll do it quick. I won't leave you puking your guts out in the gutter like a dog. Tell me, have the chills kicked in yet? Where you can't get warm enough, and then when you finally do manage to get warm enough, suddenly you're too hot, and you have to take off all the blankets and sweaters that you put on just to try to keep from feeling like you're freezing to death. Have you hit that point yet?
I kind of want to call for a get spooky roll, because you are kind of sharing this unearthly knowledge, partially as an intimidation tactic.
Okay.
Does that work for you?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So like you're because you're.
Oh, that's a big ol' miss. That's 3.
Well, there's another XP for you.
So there's an advancement, and I have another XP floating loose here
from Die Hard.
Yeah.
What's the So and just give me the like the capper on Die Hard, because that's when you recruit others.
I'm recruiting somebody to a lost cause.
And
if he's sending me into a trap, he knows this is a lost cause. He knows I'm probably not coming back out. So I want him to go in with.
I see. So that's what you're building. That's what you're building to.
Yeah, it's like you're dying. You know you're dying. And maybe they promised you an antidote, but do you really think you're important enough for that? Do you really think that they're going to waste an antidote for a very rare poison on you? The antidote's even rarer than the poison. I mean, once you've delivered me, why would they do anything for you at all?
Yeah, you can. He blanches even more. Kind of clearly upset both that you've rumbled him to some degree, and by the situation he's in, and he kind of says, under his breath, well, plan B it is, and jabs you with a syringe in the chest, and then runs out of the cafe. Let's check in on Ophidar real quick.
Yeah, I'm sitting in the library. I imagine it's not a huge library, but more like a little nook with lots of books, and there's a bit of a musty smell, and the table looks a bit unsteady, and it looks like it's under construction or something, or has to be cleaned up before anybody can go in there. It's just to keep the normies out. So I will then try to find a book or something on dreams, on neuromancy, on artifacts relating to dreams.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're combing through the shelves of this library. It's kind of tucked away at the. Is it in the back of the greenhouse then? Kind of somehow.
No. Yeah, no, I think it's a between when you go out to the greenhouse, it's in the side, at the side. Can't be in the greenhouse because the greenhouse has to be kept humid, and that's not good for books.
That's true. It's not good for books. Yeah. Okay. So looking through the library.
Yeah, I roll with questions. I'm still following the checkpoints rules. I still don't have any leverage. So I'm still rolling with +1.
Roll +1.
Oh, and I have a 6. Ha! Ha! You're not the only one who can miss the rolls. Fuck it.
All right. Well, you can take an XP for that.
I will. Oh, I clean out my XP track here, and I will go and rewrite my my refresh move.
Yeah, you were trying to rewrite the refresh move so that you can refresh yourself by feeding your own hungers rather than your mother dearest.
Yes. Absolutely. I will go and kill your formula on this on the cell. Is that okay?
Yes, that's all right. I have another draft character keeper, so.
Okay, cool. Okay, so yeah, I look through these books, and they are very interesting books. But I get to ask at least one question, right? Even on a miss.
Yeah, you get to ask at least one question on a miss.
Okay, so what? Nothing of that is actually what I'm looking for. But I think what's going on the surface might be useful to identify at least what they're looking for. What's going on the surface here?
Yeah. I think you pull from the shelf a copy of The Interpretation of Dreams by Sigmund Freud. And you open up, you see that it has been heavily annotated. And you realize you've struck gold because this is clearly a copy of Freud that's been consulted by someone familiar with the occult side of things, and so passages are underlined, passages are like struck out, notes in the margins discuss like true supernatural import of dreams, right? Because clearly this annotator thinks Freud is onto something, but doesn't understand the full arcane reality of the dream realm. And then what's going on under the surface? Reading between the lines, putting together things based on all these notes you're finding. This person is repeatedly talking about meeting with like-minded people at one of Freud's old offices. So you can see that there's a place in Vienna, a place where Freud used to work, that's clearly of interest to these dream obsessed magic users, and you're kind of like, all right, if that's not where the Dreamstealers are meeting themselves, surely there's at least a little more information there. So that's what I'm giving you, because I think the this condition on library is you're only getting hints at an answer, and more knowledge lies somewhere beyond the library. Also, mark turmoil for the checkpoint. Yeah, so
I've done that.
I think as you page through this book, the other books on the shelf start kind of shaking, right? Like there's a little restlessness, and as you turn more and more pages, the library itself kind of seems to be upset, right? Like their books start sort of falling off the shelves, like this book is not meant to be consulted, and you've managed to cause a problem here.
I could try to steal it. I'll try to steal it. Yes, I totally try to steal it, because I hope that will calm down the other books, probably. And also, it seems interesting, so I think I will absolutely go and try to steal it.
Great. So just stuffing it into what? Do you have a pocket or a satchel with you?
Yeah, well, I said that I wasn't very well dressed for my outing, because I got up and then I ran out to find Jack. So I'll just try. I don't know how large it is, but I imagine it's not that large. So I'll just try to get it under my jacket. And oh no, I have an idea. I will take off my jacket, and then I will just hang my jacket over my arm and conceal the book in there.
I see. So just kind of bundling. Bundling the book under the jacket. Yeah. Absolutely.
So when I fail my roll, it might fall down though.
As you start kind of making your way, who should you run into? Kind of seeming to be coming from the front of the cafe back towards the greenhouse, but your cousin. Yeah, you're kind of like trying to bustle away, trying to regroup with Jack, and suddenly Galatea is there, saying, "Ophidar, darling, how pleasant to run into you."
Oh, Galatea, Lovely to see you. I meant to talk to you, but right now I have a prior appointment is not the right word, right? Engagement. Prior engagement. I'm
Their
here with
engagement. Who's the lucky young person?
I'm here with a good friend, and I think he might require some more help right now. Listen, I will absolutely call you when we're done with that. Is that
Do. Just one thing. Mother was worried about you. Yeah, I just heard from her, and she
oh
she says you haven't called or written or sent a tribute in a little
I've
bit.
I've sent a postcard.
Ophidar.
Yes, I'm aware. I know. I will find something for her.
Something beautiful for her.
Yes, dear cousin. Thank you for the heads up. I will do as you advise.
Okay, so that I was going to have her exert her leverage to tell you to get something beautiful for your mother. It sounds like you're complying. It sounds like you're on board.
Yeah, it sounds like I'm complying. It's exactly what it does. I mean, I have to go and help Jack, and I have to figure out these dream guys. And yeah, when I've got time, I will find something pretty for Mama. But right now, at this point, I really want to get back to Jack, and my earphone keeps falling out. Sorry.
Okay, so in fact, I think this triggers a mechanic then. So you'll see under special moves exert leverage, and it's not spelled out there, but when characters I control, when NPCs have leverage over you, they can try to use this as well. So she was trying to exert her leverage, right? Basically, put you to get something beautiful for Echidna, and then you can kind of choose from that list either buy or promise something else that you think they want, weasel out by giving them leverage you hold over someone else, brazen it out by marking a condition, or cutting a deal by giving up leverage over you or giving them another leverage over you. Yeah, I know it's slightly confusing because this is phrased for when you use the move, but I'm using it as an NPC, and it basically gives you a set of options. And she's not spending any leverage. It's up to you which you choose, but you have to choose one from that list.
Okay, I have leverage on her, right?
Yeah, you two have leverage on each other.
I will absolutely give up the leverage right now on her.
Yes.
Because right now I don't have time to deal with her. That's bad because I really need her to create a miniature for Lucio, but I'll figure something out later. That feels about right.
So perfect. So what happens is, she's like run into you and you're kind of basically blowing her off, saying like, yes, I'll take care of it. And you like see the like,
yeah, she probably knows that this is just me telling her, yeah, I'll absolutely do it. And then I go and do something else.
Yeah, you see the disappointment in her eyes, and it's very clear. You've basically used up some of your own leverage in blowing her off here, and she feels she's holding the cards. Yeah,
I have to do something nice for her now. Okay, I'll put it on my list. I'll make a list now. I have notes down there.
Yeah, but you've moved past your cousin and you're headed back to rejoin Jack. Jack, you're that little weaselly sneak just quailed in the face of your in the face of your attempt to intimidate him and jabbed you with a syringe and ran away.
Sad thing is, I wasn't even trying to intimidate him. I was trying to give him a chance to get back at the people who tried to kill him.
Yeah.
But, what are you going to do with a weasel like that?
What are you going to do with a weasel like that?
Kill him eventually.
You've been jabbed with something strong here. I'd like you to roll take serious harm.
All right. Now, how does this work?
So this is like a kind of take a powerful blow in Masks or some other roles in different PBTA games. This is one where it's better to roll low and it's worse to roll high. and you're rolling plus the stress you already have.
So that is 7.
Okay. On a 7 through 9, you take your licks. So you choose one from the from that take serious harm list.
Okay. Oh. You know, I am going to take the condition twisted.
Ooh.
What is so what is that like? How does it manifest as like this poison, right? Starts infiltrating
Actually,
your strange undead body. How does it twist you?
if you don't mind, I'd like to switch it from twisted to compromised, just because I think it's like acting on some of the more humanish parts of me.
Oh, I see. So that's what's happened is you're kind of it's you're this strange amalgam, and it's attacking the weak point, which is the human point. Does that
Right. It's
Yeah.
attacking whatever's left of the old world, if you will.
Hmm.
And what it looks like is it is increasingly visible that something is not right. Like, people who normally would just kind of look at me and look away because they figured that I'm just ill or old or something like that are now starting to look at me because I am starting to look unwell. Useless little shit. So, has Ophidar emerged from the library?
Yes. I'm just coming over to you. I look a bit harried, really, because everybody wants something from me. Well, but I'm going over to you and say, well,
I'll meet you at the door. I need to talk to Gertrude for a moment because Gordon just attacked me in the cafe.
I would ask if you're all right, but you don't look all that all right to me.
I'm probably not, but
anything I can do to help? So if I have time for that.
I'll meet you outside and we'll talk about it.
Okay, I'll wait for you. I'll go smoke a bit.
Here, and I hand you my pack of cigarettes and my lighter. I figure you haven't had a chance to get more since.
Of course not. Of course not. Thank you.
You're welcome. And so I go looking for Frau Morgenstern with the needle and syringe still poking out of my chest.
Yeah, you just with the syringe still there. You're approaching the proprietor. She's tending to someone else. Kind of sees you out of the corner of her eye and starts saying, "Oh, Jack, how did you like the cake?"
The cake was delightful. The coffee was delicious as always. And this is courtesy of a wretch named Gordon Mackenzie.
And a very dark look crosses her face as she says, "Clearly we need to add him to the do not serve list."
If possible, I would like to speak with him before he is added to that list permanently. And I also promised him at one point that I would be the one to end him.
Okay, so it sounds like you're trying to get her to agree to kind of leave Gordon to you, despite him.
If her staff, I mean, the thing is, with a place like this, you have to have staff who can enforce the rules.
Oh yes.
So I know that her staff will work to retrieve him and to ensure that he does not violate the rules of the establishment again. I'm simply saying I need words with him before he is 86th.
Yeah. So she was, she like sets down the little plate with cake on it that she was bringing to someone else. Kind of crosses her arms, says, "Jack, you're a good customer, but there are ways we do things here. I'm not sure I can bend the rules for you to have that last tete-a-tete you're hoping for."
Let me ask you this, Frau Morgenstern. Would you rather the people he works for create more like me? That's what I'm trying to avoid.
All right. When you inspire someone to action by sharing a vision or strategy, roll plus dreamer, I think we're there, right?
Yeah. That's an 8. Finally, a success.
Whee!
Yeah. What do you choose here? Do you choose to offer the carrot or the stick as far as how this inspires
Always the carrot
goes down? Always the carrot. She lets out a slow sigh. She says, "Well, Jack, your hands, mismatched though they may be, are capable ones. Certainly there's been enough unquietness around here that I can do with someone volunteering to take on a little extra work." She looks at you. "All right, I'll let you handle this one. On behalf of Checkpoint Midnight, mind you."
Of course. And if any of your other employees happen to find him first, just please make sure they don't hurt him too badly.
I'll put the word out.
And if I feel as though this warrants a favor at some point in the future. Should you ever need something that I can assist with, you have only but to ask.
She smiles. She says, "Oh, I know. Don't worry."
Good day, Frau Morgenstern. And I nodded, tiny little bow with a little hand flourish. And at this point, I realize I still have the needle and syringe hanging out of my chest, and I pull it out and stick it in my pocket.
Yeah, there you go.
And walk out.
Okay, and you've told Ophidar to meet you outside?
Yep. So this is some kind of poison. I suspect it's something that you will know more about than I will, although I believe it's earthly in origin. Whatever Gordon's been poisoned with is clearly not.
Okay, let me take a look at this syringe thing, and take a look at it and sniff it and try to figure out what it is, and then I'll try to get out my ear pod because ear pods are boring and fall out easily. And now I've got it in again, and I will look up what kind of move I would need to check out on some poison. But I think it's still decipher, right?
Unless you're specifically getting spooky about it.
No, I'm not. I'm just right now. I'm not getting spooky about it.
All right.
I'm just checking it out mundanely first. Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing. Now the roll was a 2-3, and then I changed to 6-3, and that means I get an 11, which is a lot better.
Don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
Right. So
yeah.
what's a weak point that I could exploit in that poison?
Ooh, cool. Yeah. Kind of. I like it. A weak point in the poison, like a way to cure it, or
Yeah, exactly. Like a way to counteract its effects.
cool. Yeah, you're just taking a look at the syringe and like maybe like the little like drop, collected at the end of the needle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Generate some poison facts here.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. This is a rare solution, but with as you kind of take a close look and rely on some of a thing or two about poisons. You've dealt them once or twice. That's the sort of thing people are interested in. Moving between Vienna and the Netherworld. You can tell this is a rare and powerful poison, but it's something that it's something where the antidote can be reverse engineered from the poison itself. So if you bring this poison to someone who knows their stuff, they could make the antidote for you.
Cool. So I think well, now I would like to. I have more questions, but I have to kind of fit them to this occasion.
Mm-hmm.
How could I gain leverage? Not on the poison, obviously. You don't gain leverage on the poison, but I would like to gain leverage on the person who might know how to produce an antidote. I mean, I probably know somebody like that, and I might have an idea how to get leverage on that. And then I could use the leverage to get them to produce an antidote, which is complicated, but seems to be the right way to go about this thing.
Yeah. Leverage on someone who could produce an antidote. Do we want to author a new NPC here? Someone who does some of the like weirder chemistry in the background of the city?
Yes, weird alchemist. I like
weird,
that.
Weird science?
Weird science alchemist, exactly. But not somebody who brings back the dead.
No, just somebody who messes around with poisons and antidotes.
Yeah. Maybe out drugs and antidotes. So that would be somebody I've dealt with before for the weirder kind of drugs. So I think her name is Lilo.
Say the name one more time.
Lilo.
Lilo.
I'll write it. Lilo. I'll write it in the chat. Lilo Steger.
Lilo Steger. And are you picturing someone who's kind of herself Viennese, or someone who's come from elsewhere and settled here?
I'm maybe from northern Germany or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So she's probably speaking in an accent that is rather unfamiliar to those used to Viennese, and she is probably very dry in her manner.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably someone who's let's say someone who's kind of who the Nazis tried to recruit to do research for them, but she held out, and
she got away from them. She didn't like them at all. Maybe she's lesbian, so I mean, the Nazis didn't know, but she didn't want to go into that detail or pretend not to be who she really is.
Yeah, so she's made her way here and is trying to kind of rebuild her trade. Absolutely. I think that that she's in need of some compounds that don't don't exist very frequently in this world, but that you could definitely pick up from the Netherworld.
Cool.
So you've got an in there to gain leverage on Lilo Steger. Pick up some Netherworld compounds that will help her with her own research projects.
Okay, and I still got another question, and I'd like to ask, used what's going on under the surface, as in who would have access to this poison? Where would I go to procure it?
Yeah. This this poison gets used by this poison gets used by the CIA.
Okay.
The Americans, like there's different poisons that the different groups operating in the city they're likely to use, and for some reason this is something that the CIA has made use of multiple times in the past. So that's where you'd expect this came from, either directly or at one remove.
Okay, so I will tell Jack then. Well, this what you were poisoned with, I think it's the poison of a Floridian rainbow snake, tends to get used by the CIA a lot. And I know a person who might help us get an antidote.
I see. Well, let us be off. Alexei, are there any animals in the area?
Why do you ask?
Well, I added a move with my level up.
Nice. You took man's best friend?
I did.
Yeah, then absolutely. When you look around for an animal, you will spot one. Are you looking for something big like a dog, kind of ranging in the street, or are you looking for something small like rats or pigeons?
I'm not just looking for a dog. I'm looking for a weird dog. Maybe an undead dog or a ghost dog. Something interesting.
At the kind of at the edge of an alley nearby, right? Kind of poking its snout out from one of these blind turns, in the city streets. You see a dog that seems to be kind of like wreathed in little like lines of blue fire. An otherwise normal looking dog, but you're picking up that fiery aura as you see it, and it's kind of snuffling at the ground. Yeah, what do you do? just kind of try to call it over with a.
Yep. And I crouch down, hold my hand out, click at it again.
All right.
Come here.
All right, trying to call this animal over. What are you hoping to get from this strange dog as you approach it?
I want to track Gordon.
Just kind of set this creature on.
Because his scent is still on that syringe.
I'm sure it is. Yeah. Let's roll man's best friend.
That is a 9.
Ooh.
I think that gives you some choices. Let me check over. All right, man's best friend.
On a 7 to 9, pick 1. Creature acts as I want, but I mark a stress, or it attracts unwanted attention. It doesn't act as I want, but does something else helpful. Those are the 3 that I have.
Yeah, and it's your call. What do you pick?
I'll mark a stress.
Okay. Yeah, what's stressful about kind of summoning the dog over, getting it to pick up the scent, and set off tracking this flunky?
You mean besides the fact that this isn't a dog I've ever dealt with, it's not trained, and I'm trying to get it to track somebody it's never met? Nothing stressful about it whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So
especially not that I'm doing it after I've been poisoned, and I'm asking it to track somebody who's been poisoned and try to find them before they die. Still, there's nothing stressful. This is just all in a day's work.
Yeah, so like outwardly cool as a cucumber, but some part of you, some part of you that hasn't been monkeyed with by the scientists or pierced by this poison is just throwing up its hands at the absurdity of the situation and how much of a long shot you're trying to rely on here.
Yeah, and I mean this is a dog that clearly has something supernatural about it. I mean, most dogs don't have auras of blue flame.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. All right. So yeah, this strange hound does eventually approach you. Sniff the syringe and head off in the direction. It heads off in a direction, and you understand that it knows we're that it's supposed to chase down Gordon, and then I guess come back to you and point basically like a hunting dog.
Should we just follow it? If it's
Yeah,
going to
let's
find
just follow
somebody?
it, and we can just drag Gordon along with us to your friend. Who knows? Maybe she can get something out of him.
What happened anyway? What did he poison? He poisoned you. Why?
Someone poisoned him.
And his natural reaction is to go and poison you.
Well, I was pointing out to him that he's dying, and that, quite frankly, they used a rare poison on him, and that the antidote is even more rare. So why on the earth would they waste it on him? They're just going to let him die. So, now's about the time that he should consider whether he wants to continue working for these people or maybe get even. So he took exception to that. And, he planted this thing in my chest.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, that doesn't seem very rational. Maybe the poison was messing with his head.
Well, he said this was Plan B, so I don't know. Maybe.
Okay.
All I know is that if we don't get to him and give him something to preserve his life, he's a dead man, and quite frankly, he attacked me in the cafe, which means he's a dead man anyway. But maybe, just maybe, I can kill him just long enough that Frau Morgenstern will accept that he's dead, and we can smuggle him out of here in a coffin, and he can go have something like a normal life after he gives me the information I need.
Okay. I mean, fine. What kind of poison was he poisoned with? It's not the same thing you were poisoned with, because that's rare, but
no,
not that rare.
He was poisoned with stuff that you're familiar with. It was very much an underworld or another world poison.
Oh.
That's why I'm saying the antidote is even more rare than the poison. So who's going to waste something like that on a person like him?
Well, someone who wants information from him, maybe.
I doubt they have. I doubt he has any useful information for anybody but me. He was a low-level flunky. It's not like he was one of the scientists doing this stuff. He just literally wrote down notes for them when they said things.
But he knows who the scientists were, right? The ones you're really looking at. So if you had the antidote and told him, hey, dude, here's the antidote. I can throw it into the Danube and you can go and die for it, or I can give it to you and you tell me what I want to hear.
If we can get an antidote, that might convince him to talk.
If I knew what the poison was?
Yeah, but that's why we have to find him.
Oh, okay. And we're following this dog of yours, right?
Yeah, we're like, it's like there's this kind of trail of blue flame, kind of tracing a circuitous path through the city as Ophidar and Jack are having this conversation. If that makes sense to you.
How many heads does this dog have?
It only looked like it had one head.
Okay, so only one visible to normal people. So there's not like there's more blue flame outlined heads that the dog is wandering around with.
the flames sometimes fly in strange patterns. Hard to tell.
I think it only had one head, one dog head. Maybe it has another snake head or something like that.
Yeah,
It's a weird dog. It's a good
tail. The tail is like wagging in like a particularly serpentine way, and you're like looking
I
close.
already like this dog.
Right? It's friendly too.
Yeah. What's his name? Its name. Her name?
I don't know. I didn't get a good look. Let's just say its name, and well, let's see how long it sticks around.
Oh.
All right. Let's take a little break here. And when we get back, we'll hit our last cliffhanger and wrap things up. But I'd love to just grab a bio break for 5
Yeah. Me too.
So come back at
5 minutes or so.
Yeah, come back in 5 minutes or so.
I didn't hear the time frame. 5 minutes?
5 minutes. That's all right. Yeah.
So about 53 past the hour.
Yeah.
7 till.
7 of. Yeah. Bucket, are you back?
I am indeed. Sorry about that.
Oh yeah, no worries. Great. So dropping back into things, we had the two of you, Jack and Ophidar, following this this strange dog with the aura of blue flame that got a sniff of that poison syringe and then went off tracking Gordon. And so, if, with you on its tail, the dog leads the way to a bombed out building. It's in a district that got hit pretty hard. It hasn't been that much construction started here, so it's this place has been left kind of to a little left to the elements, left to the more unsavory elements of the city.
Really quick, this isn't the same address of the place that he told me where I could get my answers at, is it? Okay.
Nope. No, he went in a different direction.
Okay.
You've still, if you hung on to that napkin, you've still got that address, but that wasn't where he was going.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you see, right, that shows you how how people have found other uses for this this kind of bombed out building when no one's really officially claimed it. Ophidar, you first.
Sorry, I was looking for a picture of a dog and got distracted. What am I supposed to declare now?
Yeah,
we're doing a construction site.
Yeah, it's really a construction site. It's more like this place got bombed out during the war,
right.
and it's been left to. It's been just left, right? And so,
okay.
What evidence do you see of people putting this place to use when no one's actually reclaimed it yet?
I think well, okay, I think somebody has there are usually in cities, they usually had statues on buildings and stuff like that. And somebody has taken all the little statue thingies and heads and limbs and placed them somewhere on some rather ruined wall. Just they look a bit like they're guarding the wall, but that they're probably not. But that seems to be something that someone has done deliberately, and someone has done it because he's here a lot more often than you would think.
Yeah, absolutely. I bet. Yeah, so it's like the stone heads of angels or historical figures that were that used to be statues adorning this building. Now all those bits have just been lined up along the wall. And slightly spooky looking as you approach. Until you realize, oh, they're just statue heads. And Ophidar, you're like, they are statue heads, but are they just statue heads? Nice. What do you see, Jack? In that gives some evidence or some leftovers from people putting this place to their own use after it was destroyed in the bombing.
Graffiti and garbage.
Yep. Just the sort of refuse piled up.
There's a staggering amount of insulting and offensive things written in more languages than you can count using. Well, I'm missing a finger, so you wouldn't want to count it on my hands because we base 9 instead of base 10. But that and the sheer variety of garbage, like it's unusual to see in this place, but if this were the 70s, we'd call it a shooting gallery. There's needles and there's vials of morphine and such scattered around and broken, where you can see that this is a place where people come and they'll use drugs. This is a place where people will come to have, I don't know why anyone brought here would agree to have a rendezvous with anyone, but there's evidence of such things occurring here as well. It's an unsavory place.
Yes, an unsavory place indeed. I bet some of the graffiti is like kind of anti-American graffiti in Russian that's been like, it's been covered by anti-Soviet graffiti in English, right? And so there's kind of clearly a a diversity of opinions present on these walls, and some folks who perhaps don't care as much about those opinions have just found their own ways of using this place that's free from prying eyes, save perhaps for those statue heads, which surely can't see anything. I'm sure. All right, holding for just a moment.
But what a cool dog picture.
I do like that dog picture. Good.
I mean, it almost looks like it looks like some sort of some kind of weird fox corgi type dog.
I mean, it's a corgi, but who knows? It might have a snake. Yeah. I like it too.
When I described, the blue flame around the dog, I didn't think you'd be able to necessarily find that so quickly. So kudos.
Right.
All right.
Your Google Foo is strong today.
Jack, Ophidar, you've seen, you see the evidence of the uses this disused, bombed out building has been put to, and the dog you've been following kind of like points, and wags its tail in a strangely sinuous way, as you kind of can spot through some of the cracks in this the partially destroyed facade that Gordon is sitting on a concrete slab in this destroyed building, and like seems to be smoking. What do you do?
I crouch down and scratch the dog on the head and say, "What a good dog. Good pupper. Good puppy. Tell you what, can you go in there, bark at him, see if you can drive him out this way?"
So you want the dog to try to flush Gordon out of his hiding place?
Yeah, directly at us.
Yeah.
Do I need to roll for that?
No, you already rolled and paid the cost for using the. I mean, are you excited to roll on this? I guess.
I am indifferent.
Okay, then I'll give it to you. I think the dog kind of like wags its tail a little more, kind of rollicks into this place, and you hear this kind of strangely like large and loud sounding barking coming from a dog. Like it sounds like it's more barking than should fit in a dog of this size, and you hear Gordon like shrieks a little bit as it first starts barking, and then it's like, no, get away, and starts cursing a little bit at the dog, a lot at his own like ill fortune, and you'll see him come out from this building, clearly hoping to put distance between himself and the creature you set on him.
I'm just snickering. This is hilarious. I don't care that I've been poisoned. Gordon shrieking in terror, that's funny. So he's coming out of the building. Has he seen us yet?
He hasn't seen you yet, no, but you're having him flushed out right towards you, so that's going to change in a moment.
How far away is he?
Why do you ask?
Because I'm trying to figure out if I can close the distance to grab his arm before he notices.
Just
with the dog flushing him at us, and
yeah. Can you just
you're roboting?
Grab him before. Yeah. Yes, you can do that. Yeah, he's being flushed out right towards you. He's distracted by the dog. You get in there and like have him by the arm. He shrieks again as like suddenly someone's grip closes on his arm, and like his eyes obviously go wide as he turns and sees that it's you.
Gordon, my old friend, how are you doing?
I'm sorry, Jack. I didn't want to, but you weren't buying it. It didn't give me a choice.
Yeah, you're. I gotta tell you, Gordon, things aren't looking good for you right now. I mean, if you survive the poison, which, let's be honest, you probably won't, you attacked somebody at checkpoint midnight. You know what that means.
No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't know. I've been a good customer. I've bought coffee and things.
You attacked someone at checkpoint midnight. What are the rules there, Gordon?
Yeah, he's sweating. Ophidar, looked like you were thinking of intervening.
Oh no, I just want to threaten him some more. I will look at him and say, "Hey, I don't know if I turn him, Jack. If I turn him into a statue now, will he continue to feel the poison? I mean, forever?"
You're the one who has expertise with stone.
I don't know. I mean, I might go and try it out.
I mean, that sounds like science, doesn't it? I mean, we have a theory. You know, you have a hypothesis. We've got a test subject.
I hear he knows a lot about science. This Gordon fellow.
I mean, I met him in that godforsaken lab.
Who else was there, Gordon, in that godforsaken lab? Might they be better subjects to be turned into stone than you?
All right. Sounds like it gets spooky since we're like trying to intimidate him again invoking the supernatural. Ophidar, will you roll that for me?
I will absolutely go and roll that for you. I will roll it with Fable, I think, right? Yes,
yeah.
get spooky.
Yeah, when you get spooky, you roll with Fable.
I will roll with Fable. Come on. And it's a 12.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
12.
So like, yeah, tell me how do you make that threat a little more real, right? Like how do you make clear it's not an idle threat as you talk about turning him to stone?
I'll just lower down my sunglasses and let my eyes take on their more natural color of that's a really stony gray. And you can maybe even see the hair that starts moving out and looks a bit more snake-like and gorgon-y or Medusa-y as usual. It's not even a passerby wouldn't really notice, but this guy who knows the supernatural, and he will understand that. Maybe he feels like he's getting a little heavier, but that might be the poison or just his fear. Who knows?
Who knows indeed. All right, on a 10+, just choose one from the get spooky list. It's so there's always some cost as you invoke your powers, but 10+, you only have to choose the one.
I struggle to keep my sanity fully in a drawn attack. Powers do things beyond what you meant. That seems amazing. But right now, I think I'll just struggle through because we don't want him to turn to stone. No, I'll just take a stress because right now I notice that when I take off the glasses and look at him, I notice that, oh wow, this guy is getting a bit granity here, and I should really stop what I'm doing, but I can't just take off my gaze of him because I'm trying to intimidate him. So I'm trying to keep it together.
All right, yeah, Ophidar, you're managing to keep it together, but the stress is building up inside, and yeah, you put the fear of God or fear of the netherworld into Gordon, and he says, all right, you win. You guys are scarier than them. So if I'll go with you. Help me out, keep me safe, and I'll give you everything. I'll give you everything I've got.
You've got that the wrong way around. You give us everything you got, and then maybe, if we're feeling kind and inclined to do so, we'll keep you safe.
Gordon,
take me somewhere safe. Then I'll talk. Okay?
Did I even mention to you that Frau Morgenstern tapped me as one of her agents to address the situation?
Yeah, so he has kind of thoroughly kind of cowed here, right? Just Did you like lift him up when you grabbed him by the arm, or you're just grabbing him firmly, keeping him from getting away?
Oh, it's so much more fun when I do hold them up.
Yeah. Yeah, so he just kind of like slumps and goes limp, right? He's not struggling anymore. He's just dangling from your grip. But yeah, you feel. I mean, I think here's the thing, right? Like I think fictionally you totally have leverage now, right? So both of you take one leverage over Gordon. You've you've kind of caught him. Explain the situation and made clear you're holding cards here. However, you hear a voice from right where Gordon came out of the building. Another voice and footsteps and several people's footsteps as a half dozen men come walking out from this derelict building, and the one in the lead says, well. Looks like a whole knot of loose ends to be tied up. Gordon, you failed, but we're gonna take out Jack anyway. So guess it works out. And the half dozen men in long black coats that have walked out of this building.
Know what? This guy, when he says we're gonna take out Jack anyway, blah blah blah, I'm gonna turn him stone.
Okay, so before they make their next move, as
I'm just like
announcing
what
their
do
presence.
These idiots want? I don't know, but this guy has just painted a large target because Jack's my friend, and he's going to be turned to stone, or maybe not.
I am spinning around and pulling a grenade out of my trench coat, and it's like I've got Gordon in my left hand because I'm right-handed. And I'm literally pulling a grenade out, pulling the pin with my teeth, and then spinning. And then as I come back around, chucking it at him underhand.
All right. So let's have let's do a Gorgon's Gaze roll and then a Resort to Violence roll.
Okay. I'll do my Gorgon's Gaze.
Might not know what hit him.
Okay. Seems like I've rolled a 7, and I think I roll with Fable. That's a 9. Okay.
So you get to choose.
I mark a condition. I think I'm a little bit blunted by now. This was really hard. But whatever, he gets blunt. Yeah, blunted seems right. That's just like, this was a lot. But he's turned to stone.
Yeah, so. Ophidar feels blunted, but the ringleader who was given this little speech as he walked out with his cronies is a statue, right? His mouth is partially open as he was still about to say light 'em up, boys, or whatever. But he's now he's just a statue of a guy trying to be intimidating. Reaching for the statue, the carved image of a gun, on his hip there. The others have, the others kind of, they were grabbing for their weapons, but they're distracted as they see this happen, right? As Ophidar does this Gorgon thing, and suddenly, one of them was right behind the leader and just bumps into the statue and falls back, right? And Jack, you're tossing a grenade into their midst. So I'd like to have you resort to violence.
I don't know that I'm actually resorting to it. That makes it sound like it's something that I wouldn't want to do.
Jack, let's have you turn to violence as your first and only solution.
9 on the dice plus 1 weapon is 10.
Okay.
And then does War is Hell and I Love It trigger here?
That's an interesting question. War is Hell as I Love It says, when you resort to violence against someone you judge to have really deserved it, choose an additional option, even on a miss. What do you judge? Do you judge these people to have really deserved it?
I don't even know them, and they're trying to kill me.
Fair enough. Yeah. Go ahead and choose 3 from the resort to violence list.
Okay. don't end up entangled with them or caught. Will this grenade sufficiently incapacitate them that this will put an end to the conflict?
Probably. I think the only question is, do they get a shot in, before the fat lady sings?
Okay. Instead of exchanging blows, hit them and avoid their blow. So nice. one of them is already stoned. And so my next question is, does hitting them and avoiding their blow mean that we have resolved this before they can act?
I'd probably say so. Yeah. Like,
okay.
You guys were bringing some serious firepower here. It seems like they were not fully expecting that. So if you hit them and avoid their blow, you'll probably have put have stopped this conflict in its tracks, right?
All right. In that case, I want to take something away from them, and I will figure that out after I say, Gordon, who were they?
Question for you before we get there. Are you tossing your grenade such that it's going to blow up that statue Ophidar just made, or are you trying to avoid that happening?
Ophidar, how are we feeling about this? Do we want these people? I mean, could you even unstone him if you wanted to at this point?
I don't think so, but I really like to have him be a statue.
Okay. So in that case, I will chuck the grenade in such a way as to avoid damaging this nice statue that Ophidar just made for us.
Great. Yeah. So like the grenade, hits the ground right near, the kind of main group of these men. Several of them are blown right away. The others run. No one ends up taking a shot at you because you've so thoroughly kind of caught them totally on the back foot and turned the tables, leaving some smoking remains of several of these guys and a statue kind of standing there. I
would like to stipulate at this point that I am still holding Gordon in my left arm, his feet dangling above the ground.
Right arm free, just in case one of them comes back to try anything.
Yep. Jack, I think we should leave now. This was a pretty loud bang, and I imagine that the Viennese authorities do not take kindly to grenades being lobbed around in their city.
True. Gordon, who were they?
Just tough. Just some. You went to a party and tossed around this American air, and you thought there weren't going to be any consequences. Jack, you've made such a headache for all of us.
Ophidar.
Yeah.
I knew I should have thrown him out the window.
He hired some local talent. They've got some kind of connection to the American spies that gave them poison, and they just wanted me to lure you to a place they could blow you up.
I don't believe you, because they wouldn't give you a netherward poison just for a basic schoolboy revenge. Let's take this guy. Let's get out of here, and then we will have a longer talk, because this is not the right environment.
You are sensible and wise, Ophidar.
I'm also moving, and
yes.
I'm kind of
come on, dog.
Push you.
the dog falls at your heels. What do you? Yeah. Do you want to take anything kind of identifying from this from the scene?
I do want to grab. I want to grab wallets real quick. Just not for money, but for ID. Any kind of papers I can find in there.
Great. Yeah. Just going through their pockets, seeing what you can find. Is it all right if we kind of leave that as a Chekhov's gun to be fired? That you like grab a packet of these things for further investigation?
Sabine? You're muted.
I'm not muted any longer. What am I going to take? I'm not going to take anything from these things.
Oh,
No, he was saying do you think this is an okay place to kind of stop with that?
Oh
Or is there
yeah,
anything else that you want to do?
perfect. No, that's perfect. That's
Okay.
a perfect place.
all right. So we'll kind of fade out on that for this episode. You guys have weathered this attack, grabbed some stuff from these pockets to investigate later, and you're bringing the thoroughly defeated and still poisoned Gordon along with you.
And I think this is the perfect time to go to Lilo and look at
that's right. I think
and
that's where we'll pick
let
up.
her have to look at the poison stuff.
Yep.
So
I think that's where we'll pick up next session.
okay, cool. Yeah, I like this one.
Thank you. Yeah, and the other thing we'll work on at the start of the next session is your entanglements, because thanks to the advancements you took, you're also going to get more entangled with the great powers. So we'll talk about that. We'll work out how you have handlers now, and feel free to look over and even send me questions midweek, because advancement's not all that fleshed out on the character sheet, so I'm happy to just chat about it via email as we work out that part of the advancement. All right, thanks so much for playing, everybody, and folks watching along, thanks for being with us. We're gonna end our recording now, but we'll be back next week with more Checkpoint Midnight Spies in the City of Dreams.